What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/AmITheButthole. Also, Don't Stop Believing by Journey is stuck in my head, and as a consequence, so is the finale to The Sopranos, which I saw a while ago, but I'm still thinking of it because that's the song that... Yo, who else got Soup Stoops creeped out when Tony's therapist or whatever was looking over what her colleagues were talking about at dinner in the last season when she discovered that super big thing about Tony's, I guess, character? Ooh, creepy. Alright, this story is called Am I the Butthole for Taking Attention Away from the Bride at a Wedding? I hate myself. I suffer from panic disorder, which means I tend to suffer panic attacks on a regular basis. They're usually triggered by external stimuli, especially if it's related to my CPSD, but they can also happen seemingly out of nowhere. I was abused repeatedly as a child and am still dealing with the fallout in adulthood. That is incredibly tragic. I'm serious, but you said Fallout, man. I'm stuck on Fallout. I gotta go play Fallout now. I gotta install Fallout on my PlayStation because you put that in my mind. I'm sorry. Fast forward to last weekend. My girlfriend's cousin, let's call her Susan, was getting married and invited me to come to the wedding as a +1. It was a very small, intimate ceremony, but relatively safe given Brovid restrictions. I'd already been feeling on edge earlier that morning after an argument with my dad, but decided to come anyway, thinking being with my girlfriend's family would help get my mind off things. Sadly, this on-edge feeling didn't go away. I tried to hold in my anxiety to keep the peace, but it wasn't working. My girlfriend tried calming me down, holding my hand and assuring me everything was okay. After a few minutes, I got up during the vows and headed for the lobby to try and calm down. My girlfriend got up with me. A few people stared at us as we left. After a while, I did feel better, and some relatives asked me if I was alright. It felt nice knowing these total strangers weren't gonna judge me for a mental health crisis that I couldn't control. Later that day, I was at my girlfriend's apartment. While she was in the bathroom, her phone went off, revealing a string of texts from Susan. I didn't snoop through her phone. Texts on iPhones appear briefly for a few seconds while on sleep mode. Due to post-length rules, I'll give a brief summary. Susan thanked my girlfriend for coming to her wedding, but added that it was very rude to just get up and leave in the middle of the ceremony. Susan said she worked her butt off to make the wedding happen in spite of Brovid. My girlfriend and I took attention away from her and that I should have stayed home. I later told my girlfriend about the texts and she apologized profusely for Susan's behavior. She said she never remembered her cousin acting like this and maybe she was just caught up in the heat of the wedding. I'm sure that's true, but Susan's not the first person bothered by my panic attacks, and she won't be the last. Maybe I should have stayed home. I was already feeling panicky to begin with, but I left anyway because I love being around my girlfriend and her family. Maybe it was selfish of me to do this on such a special occasion as a wedding. Am I the butthole? Edit. I don't think I made a big scene or anything. I had some staggered breathing, tremors, and felt lightheaded. There were about 12 to 15 people in the audience. Edit 2. I now see that I am the butthole here, but thanks for also being understanding of my disorder. I hope Susan will accept my apology. I never meant to ruin the wedding, but I shouldn't have used it as a way to make myself feel better. I should have stayed home and found someone else to talk through my panic attack. I just thought my girlfriend would have been the best person at the moment. What? You're the butthole here? Okay, as someone who's never been married, as someone who's only been married a handful of times, I personally don't see how someone getting up and leaving because they aren't feeling well is ruining your wedding. I mean, yes, he did feel a little bit weird before the wedding, but I don't know. I don't think he's the butthole here. If he was like, stop the wedding, I'm freaking out here, guys, then I'd understand. But he was just like, I don't feel good, I gotta go. And he left. Yes, I do think it's worth apologizing for, because I guess, just from without knowing what's going on, it could look a little weird or disrespectful or whatever. And I think it is worth apologizing for, and he should apologize, and he did. But it's not something she should be mad about. You get what I'm saying? Like, someone accidentally puts a little bit too much butter on your toast. First of all, that's impossible. You're an idiot. Second of all, I'm sorry. Idiot is a really strong word. To me, at least. It's so cutting. You're not gonna get mad about too much butter. You know what I'm saying? It's like your last piece of toast. Yeah, a little too much butter on it. It's no big deal. Just throw that one away and get a new new piece of toast. Just have a divorce and get married again. It's fine. There's such a thing as do-overs, guys. That's why I said I've had a handful of weddings, because I didn't like the first 34. Alright, Ski, this story is called... Am I the butthole for taking attention away from the bride during a wedding? Tie! For your feedback. Thank you for your feedback. I'm a smartass. The final consensus was that the butthole. But I think the many not the buttholes I received had some good points too. The ones saying I'm not a butthole have some good points. I shouldn't have gone to the wedding when I was about to have a panic attack. But as long as I was there, leaving before I could really make a scene was the best I could do at the moment, albeit poorly timed. I left Susan both a text and a voicemail apologizing for taking attention away from her. I had no malicious intent, and I was simply trying to solve a mental health crisis in what I thought was the best option, being with my girlfriend rather than by myself. Oh, because he brought the girlfriend with him. Nevertheless, I shouldn't have used a wedding to make myself feel better. Later that night, Susan texted me saying she accepted my apology and that she'd be off her phone for a while for her honeymoon. I was happy that Susan forgave me, but for a while, my mind went into a dark place about this whole ordeal with panic attacks. I'd spent a lifetime being treated like there was something wrong with me, whether from my abusive father or others who didn't know or care enough to act with my best interests at heart. My own mom tried to get rid of me as a baby before giving my dad full custody. I wished I could just disappear. One psych evaluation and several counseling sessions later, I'm on a more stable path mentally than a few weeks ago. I was given stronger meds that I could take right before I have another panic attack. I also want to get some sort of support animal to have in my apartment. I'm not going to let my disorder keep me from living my life, but I'll probably stay away from larger social functions until I'm comfortable enough to do so again. I look forward to a nice Thanksgiving with my girlfriend's family this week. Thank you again for helping me put my situation into perspective. I may have been the butthole at the wedding, but I'll try to be more mindful of future social gatherings from now on. Okay, now I'm making sense. Now this is making sense to me. See, I have poo brain. Anywho doody. I don't have panic disorder or anxiety attacks or whatever. I don't think I've ever had one. So I don't know how predictable they are, and I'm very sure that it's a subjective thing. It's not going to be a universal thing for everyone, universally. Alright, this story's called, Am I the Butthole for Grounding My Daughter for Being Inappropriate to Her Stepbrother? Ooh. To start off, my ex-wife and I split up when my daughter was about 4 years old. It was an amicable decision, and my ex and I are still friends. We have dinners together with our daughter at least once every couple of months since the divorce. My daughter loves these times, and we get to talk about boring co-parenting stuff when we finish dinner, and our daughter is out of earshot. I met my current wife when my daughter was 10, and she had a 13-year-old son. They got along, but she always seemed to want to hang out with him more than he wanted to be with her. Didn't think anything of it, just figured she thought he was cool and looked up to him. She used to beg for the two of them to have sleepovers in the living room and things. My stepson has never complained to me about this. My daughter is now 12, and my stepson is 15, and we live a pretty boring life together. But last week, I heard my daughter scream crying from her brother's room. I went to investigate, and he was standing there, fists clenched and red in the face. My daughter was laying on the ground, sobbing and hyperventilating. Immediately, I separated the two, and I started talking to my daughter. She told me that her stepbrother said he hated her and doesn't ever want her to talk to him again, and then pushed her to where I found her. I went to my stepson after talking to my daughter and confronted him. He admitted to the words, but not the shoving, and he told me something that really freaked me out. He had just taken a shower and had come out from the bathroom to his room, but apparently he didn't hear the door latch close. When he had finished getting dressed and turned to leave, he saw that the door was cracked and that my daughter was on the other side. That's when he flipped out on her and told told her to leave him alone and not to ever talk to him. I honestly didn't know what to think. I went back to my daughter, and after a bit of prodding, she confessed and said she was curious and seemed really embarrassed. I got really upset and told her what an invasion of privacy that was, and how would she like it if she found someone looking at her change the way he found her. I told her I was gonna take away her laptop and her phone. She freaked out. She called my ex before I knew it, and when she handed me the phone, my ex was on speaker scolding me for something so trivial that every preteen and teenager gets curious sometimes. I told her it didn't matter. Her curiosity shouldn't impede on my stepson's safety in my house, and vice versa if it happened the other way around. My daughter started screaming that she wanted to live with her mom, and the next day, my ex came to pick her up. My daughter is refusing to answer my calls or come for visitation, which used to be 50-50 split. My ex-wife says she's appalled by my clear favoritism toward my stepson, and I just want my daughter back. Am I the antagonist or butthole? Should I apologize? Okay, first, whoa, what are you doing, stepsis? Oh, God, inappropriate. Anyway, this is a weird one. Okay, obviously, dad here is not the butthole. Daughter? That's a weird situation, bro. I'm just saying. I mean, ideally, you don't want to snoop on people you live with. No, let me take that back. You don't want to snoop on anybody. All right, that's weird. And when they're your step sibling, you're really pushing some boundaries there, buddy. I feel like a talk should be had about the inappropriateness and overall grossness of, this situation. Obviously, don't make her feel too bad about it. She's 12 years old, or 13, or whatever the hell she is. 12. Okay, 12. She can't know it's that bad. But then again, she was hiding it, but I feel like it's something that should obviously be something you're ashamed about. But she's 12. So, what do I know? I'm not even 12 yet. I'm like 4. I'm actually still a fetus. Reporting to you live from the womb. Actually, no, this is pre-recorded. My umbilical cord is also USB. Yeah, baby. Alright. This story's called, Am I the butthole for grounding my daughter for being inappropriate to her stepbrother? God. A lot has happened since my last post. I have been DM'd asking for an update. It's been a long time since my last post, and a lot of the advice and support given was so heartwarming. Now, on to the update. My ex-wife for a long time was on my daughter's side. Eventually, her and I had a long discussion, and it was clear after that my daughter had twisted the story to seem more accidental. We both agreed that staying with my ex was the best for her until she agrees to seek therapy. 2 weeks ago, she finally relented and started her first session on Thursday. My wife and stepson all discussed the idea of her coming back for visitation once she's had the help she needs. We even installed a padlock on my stepson's door, his request to make him feel more safe. We plan on going back to our monthly dinners with my ex and daughter slowly, but hoping that therapy will help her. My stepson refused therapy and said he just doesn't trust her like he used to. I want to thank everyone for their advice and kind words, and I'd like to thank the mod team for dealing with my bullcrap regarding this whole post. In a few weeks, if my daughter is comfortable, I may join to get a better perspective on what she's thinking. I'm truly hopeful that things will get better over time, but this has been a huge improvement. Considering she absolutely refused every time it was brought up and tried to say that her stepbrother was the problem. Edit. A lot of people have asked why my ex and I believe therapy was necessary over what happened. So I will just copy and paste a comment I made to one of the users asking the aforementioned question. The therapy is to get to the root of the issue of why she not only lied, tried to claim her stepbrother pushed her, and refused to admit she did anything wrong despite multiple conversations. Yes, she kept sticking to the lie that her brother pushed her for no reason. I want her to have a therapist to help understand her thought process because it's pretty scary if I'm being honest. Not only that, but but the fact that my stepson says he doesn't trust her leads me to believe there may be more to the story that therapy could help illuminate. Not to punish her for having curiosity, but her curiosity should never impede on another person's privacy. I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw the therapy I recorded, I was like, ooh. But I realized, hey, it's got a bad stigma to it. Therapy is not a bad thing. It's like emotional, mental gym, you know, to maintain health and to regain health if you don't have it mentally or emotionally. So yes, get this girl some help. She is a really awkward situation, bro. I feel bad for the stepson, too. That's gotta suck. Not only the fact that she did something like that, but she kept lying and blaming him, which is a very common thing for victims of these sorts of things. But I'm not trying to make the girl out to be some sort of predator or whatever. I think it's like they said, she was curious, but just didn't go about it the right way or with the right person. This story's called, Am I the Butthole for Not Wanting to Use My Inheritance on My Kids? Whoa. I got pregnant right out of high school. I was lucky that the dad didn't run off and wanted to be in the child's life. He went to college while I stayed home and worked at an office job. We continued to date throughout the whole thing and got married when he graduated college. It took a while, but with our combined incomes, we can live a decent life. Middle class. I had 2 other children with him. All of the kids are adults now, and 2 are in college while the other graduated. Each kid had a college fund of about $50,000. Wowza. Well, my father died due to the pandemic, and in the will, I got a lot of money in property. If I sold the properties, I would have enough to retire right now. I talked to my husband about it, and we decided to sell the properties. With the combined money, we were going to put 3/4 into our retirement fund and use the rest to explore the world and fun money. I have never left the USA before, and it has been a dream to see the world for such a long time. We are making plans to keep working until 2023 and then go explore the world for a whole year. We told our kids the plan, and they were upset that we weren't using the money to pay for their college debt. Every kid has debt since the $50,000 didn't cover everything, so they had to take out loans. It turned into an argument, and I put my foot down and said no, that I'm finally going to do what I want, that I sacrificed enough, and that I'm not giving up this dream again. My kids aren't happy, but my husband and I just wanted an outsider's perspective if I'm being an ass. Edit. Answer some questions. The kids are 26, 22, 21. Ayo, me too. And I'm 44. Same. The reason the inheritance was so large was that dad died unexpectedly, and I basically got the rest of his retirement fund and properties. He was retired for 7 years. My family only passes the inheritance down to their children and not grandchildren. Tradition. No, you're not a butthole. I mean, okay, first of all, depends on how much money it is. Obviously, they're not entitled to anything. I mean, they are your kids, but I mean, if we're just looking at it like realistically, they have no right to demand anything of you. They can kind of ask you annoyingly and aggressively, because that's what kids do. You give us an inch and we'll want a mile. I don't know the thing. I'm tired, dog. Anyway, depending on how much money it is, I mean, like, would it take a lot of the money would it take a huge amount of your money to pay off the debt? Wait, what am I saying? You gave them each $50,000, bro. No. They got enough. Get out of here, you greedy bastards. You go have fun, boo. Hell yeah. This story's called Update. Am I the butthole for not wanting to use my inheritance on my kids? Oh, shoot. By the way, OP, I'm sorry for your loss. It sucks that people had to die during this pandemic. It really does. Anyway, thank you to everyone that responded to the original post. You're so welcome, OP. I'm very glad to have helped you. So we got into contact with our financial advisor, and he looked over everything. It seems like everything is good, and our original plan is gonna work. My husband and I also decide to look into renting out the properties, but we were advised against it since both properties' locations are awful. One is my dad's old house, and another is a few acres of land that's just kinda there. I have no idea where it came came from. Well, where did all land come from? I don't know. I'm not a come-fromologist. We are gonna get a second opinion on that, but for right now, the original plan is happening. Our kids confronted us a few days ago when they heard we were going through with the plan. It boiled down to us telling them that they chose which college to go to and they didn't need to go to a private college. Also, they chose not to work during their college years, that they knew how much debt they would be in and that we are not paying for their choices when they understood what they were doing. It was a bit harsh, but it seemed to get through to them, and peace is restored in my family. My youngest daughter, still in college, is actually looking into getting a job on campus. My husband and I are thinking of paying to take the kids on a week or two vacations before or during our trip. So a family vacation. My husband and I are making a list of places we have to visit when we travel the world. We have a few ideas, but any suggestions would be appreciated. Oh man, you got me on the spot. I got nothing. I don't even know any locations. I'm not a location scientist. I'm done with that joke. I'm not, just for this episode. But go to Greece or Italy or Austin, Texas. You can listen to Matthew McConaughey on the transit system. Woo!
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.